Hello all and welcome to episode 41 of the 3-for-1 Sky Fantasy podcast by Fantasy Football Hub. My name is Fergie and I'm joined by two of the most successful Sky managers in the game. Firstly, Paul McAnulty. How was your Sky weekend, Paul?
Yeah, it was gone okay. I didn't put Sterling in my overall team, so I'm still keeping tabs on whether I think that holding off on that transfer until next week's been a good or a bad thing. I'm 11 points down from the move on to Kane next week, so I guess I'm okay just now.
Other than that, pretty standard then.
Pretty standard, yeah.
Also, our former Sky winner Dan Cox with us into the top 100. Dan, I noticed last night, looking good.
Yeah, get in there, mate. Just at the right time of the season as well. You don't want to peak too early, do you? So just timing that run, get it in there now, stay in there, and just keep pushing on. And with my 19 transfers, you know, want to get well in that top 100.
And how was your day today?
Yeah, it's all right, mate. Had a cracking headache actually this morning from the old jab, didn't I? Had my COVID jab.
Course, yeah.
So I woke up with a headache, but now I've been all right. Apart from that, no side effects, so all good.
Yeah, we were at risk yesterday with Dan with his jab. He said, "I'm not sure how I'll feel, lads, but he's managed to make it. So well done there, Dan."
And I'm buzzing because I'll be down the pub with a load of 70-year-olds soon. No teenagers in there, so we will happy with that. Be able to see the telly and no bother.
You'll have the same hairline as them as well, won't you? So you'll fit in nicely.
Yeah.
So
that's how we're starting.
Sorry, says I. I've stagnated a little. I picked Grealish on the overhaul. I didn't really want to pick Grealish, but he was just one of those, you know, like hygiene picks. But you know, when it was him or Rodri, and it's done me a bit, and it's cost me a fair few places. And this afternoon, obviously, you know, heard the rumours about Grealish being out, and my move was going to be Grealish to Harvey Barnes for this afternoon. No, wasn't expecting much really of Harvey Barnes this afternoon, but yeah, a bit of a nightmare in terms of not getting him in, and you know, get him in next week. Okay, all well and good, but obviously missed out on a bit of a haul this afternoon. But there we go. Still plenty of time to climb. With well over a third of the season still to play. Apparently it's buffering a little bit, is it? Is that right? It's buffering. It's buffering, but the sound is good. 1 sec.
Get off Fortnite.
It's all those Alexas on.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll try and get the buffering sorted all. Apologies for that. Just shouted.
Is your missus on the hub?
I just shouted down to the wife and the kid to get off the bloody internet. So we'll see if that helps. Okay, so as we are live, please feel free to join in the chat at any time. Let us know your thoughts on the topics of the relevant sections, and feel free to ask some questions for us to answer at the end. Good evening, everyone. Loads of people on the chat. Sussex Martler, Tom Hartnell, Glenn Murray, Luke Shillito, Frank FF Stuff, Saif Ali, Offspin in a Hurry, Norman Conquest, Phil Hurst, Dan Cox, Sam Cole, Nigel Christie, lots of others. Apologies all if it was buffering. Hopefully it's a bit better now. I think some of the comments are saying it's better, so hopefully we can get on. Okay, so for any new watchers and listeners, if you haven't subscribed to us yet, please press the subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner of the screen and set the alerts so you don't miss our live streams at 9 PM every Sunday right here on this channel. Also, please press the like button if you enjoy our content. So tonight, Paul will share some bonus stats for us. Dan will share some ownership stats. We will run through the now confirmed rearranged fixtures for next week. We will answer some Twitter questions, give some mini league updates, and finish off as usual with Dan's round. So straight into it. And Paul got up the stats from this weekend's games.
Yeah, so starting with the Southampton-Chelsea game, I guess fantasy interests, Azpilicueta picked up tier 2 passing. There's just one tackle shy of picking up tackle bonus as well. Alonso continuing to be picked by Tuchel. He picked up tackling bonus. Zuma back in the team, and along with Rudiger picking up passing tier 2. Kovacic and Kante both picking up passing, and Kante picking up tackles as well. So Kante doing the double from the bonus perspective. Burnley West Brom, as you can imagine, wasn't a big game for bonus, and I think other than perhaps a few people with Loughton picking up tackle bonus, there probably wasn't any fantasy interest in that one. Liverpool Everton, so Alexander-Arnold and Kabak picking up passing bonus, Alisson picking up saves bonus rather, and Thiago picking up the double bonus as well for passes and tackles. From Everton's point of view, again, not much from a fantasy perspective from Sky, I wouldn't have thought. And then Fulham against Sheffield United. I've seen a few Twitter teams picking Fulham defenders on overhaul teams because I guess for the cost saving, the Arabayo, is that right? Fair
I don't know, mate. Honestly, I'm not sure.
As I'm good at pronunciations, I'd like to know. I don't know.
Him and Enya both picking up passing bonus, and Anderson picking up tier 2 passing bonus as well. All been nice picks, again, cost savings. So that covered from fantasy perspective yesterday, and then today's games, West Ham, Spurs. So Antonio, after doing his no-show last week when everyone got him in, a lot of teams had him in for the captaincy, turned up today picking up the shots bonus along with his early goal. Cresswell picking up tackling bonus. Nobody's really spoke about him from a Sky perspective. He's ticked along nicely, although West Ham don't have a double next week and they play Man City away, so I can't imagine much interest in jumping on the West Ham players just now. Spurs perspective, Højbjerg picking up passing bonus, but he got booked, so they've only returned 4 points from there. Villa against Leicester, so I've seen a few people did the Martinez move from Pope to gain all the extra games. He picked up saves tier 2, and Leicester, Maddison picking up shots bonus was a nice return, and Pereira picking up shots bonus instead of tackling bonus, which is probably why he was picked by those that own him. Castagna was back in the team, he picked up tackling tier 2. Arsenal, Man City, Cancelo didn't pick up passing bonus, but the other 3 defenders, Zinchenko, Diaz and Stones did. Sterling picked up shots bonus. I think he's really highly owned, so a nice 9-point return for owners there. Holden, there's a few teams with Holden in. He picked up tackling tier 1. That's probably it from a fantasy perspective. And then I know the Man United slide isn't up there, but Lindelof, Maguire, Shaw all picked up passing bonus along with Fred and Matic. Rashford picked up shots bonus, and Darlow picked up saves bonus, and St Maximin picked up shots bonus there. But again, very few ownerships, especially in the top 1,000.
It's a funny one, Rashford. He's either, he seems to be really hot and really cold, but he does seem to find a way of scoring points a fair bit, don't you? I own him in a couple of other formats, and he just always seems to find a way, but he doesn't have lots of chances. Bit of a strange one, but obviously Bruno was he 99% owned in the top 1k. So if you didn't captain him,
99.9%, there was one team without him.
If you didn't captain him today, you may be in a bit of trouble. Well, I say that unless you captained, I think Stones and Diaz, didn't they? Diaz especially had tier 2 and man of match as well, so he had a lovely haul. Okay, Paul, games to be played. Apologies, mate. Games to be played. Let's slide is on now. Do you want to talk through this?
It's just this. The reason we're laughing about this is because I said to Fergie, I was like, you know that your agenda doesn't match up to the slide deck, and he says, no, I corrected it afterwards. We're all fine. Oops. So number of games to be played. I showed this slide pre-overhaul, and I thought I would update it with games to the end of the season, single captaincy days, which I've counted an extra game for. Based on the appeal of bringing in a player, and then the to be confirmed is there's an Everton Aston Villa game that's not been scheduled in yet, which might be in the near future before the blank game week. So you can see there that Southampton, they've got 14 games to play, but 3 of them are confirmed single match day. I know one of them is against Man City, so perhaps that doesn't count, but if you're looking, I guess, for a differential that's not a completely wayward pick. Danny Ings again might be someone that I would potentially consider if I was looking to try and make up some ground, perhaps break the top 1k, or if I had transfers spare and I was looking to make moves on people that was around me. Villa, we know, aren't in the best of form. We don't know how long Grealish is out for, but the sheer volume of games they have got after today, they have got the most games still to play, the single most number of games. And then Brighton have now got that additional single match day as well. So for those that don't have a Brighton asset, it might be worth taking that into consideration for potential moves for tomorrow night. Those that were perhaps missing it originally, now with them having the extra confirmed game, might decide to make a move on that.
Cool. Interesting point from Kelvin Guest in the chat. So obviously we'll touch on the rearranged fixture now in a minute, which have gone into next midweek. But he just said Sterling a keep for me now has a 6 for 3 over most other teams, and obviously the way the fixtures have fallen does mean that Man City have got we obviously with Ian Parrin and Ben Cran and everyone else have predicted these double weeks for City. Apparently Sterling's got a 6 for 3 over a fair few teams. So if you want,
whilst I don't think that he's a bad hold, I think the 6 for 3. I think there's going to be a lot more rotation with City coming up, harder games, and playing in the Champions League. So that's 6 for 3 against someone who plays every game in the Premier League, like a Harry Kane or a Mo Salah. I think it's on Spurs and on Liverpool. They've got that 6 for 3. It might not be.
Yeah, he's not going to play every game over the next month or two, is he? Because they've got games every 3 or 4 days. I had a look at the schedule earlier, and if they stay in all the cups, they've got Borussia Mönchengladbach, haven't they, in the Champions League? They've got Everton in the FA Cup. They've also got the Carabao Cup, in early April. So you would guess that they're going to get through those rounds at least. The longer they stay in all these competitions, they are playing like Saturday, Wednesday, not far off from now until the end of the season. So they will get rested. It is a good point. Apparently, Dan James got man of the match in the United game.
I just text the report.
Oh, it was you. Who's you put it on?
Yeah.
Dan Cox is Dan James, and also Tom Hartnell. Apparently, they gave it to Shaw on BT, according to Chris D.
Okay. Sorry, mate. Man City. The good thing about Man City is 3 of the next 4 games you get to see the lineups in the first game of the day. So don't have to do none of this. Should I captain DS or Stones
so
or
nice
Cancelo?
Because it's so stressful, isn't it? Not having to go and all the rumours you see on like everywhere. Rumours. It's pretty.
It's tricky because some people if when I did have some info, I would let you know and say this is the info I've got off a good source. But if it's not right, then that's it. But then on Twitter, people will just I've spoke to someone, this is it, and they're just doing it to amuse themselves or whatever, aren't they? So it's just so that's what we said about Grealish, wasn't it? There's reports he was going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. Then it was he was going to play, and you just think, do you know what? What's going on?
Unless Dean Smith's blatantly lying about not hearing back from his medical team, how does reporters know that he's out for a month on BBC? I just don't get it. Like he came out after the game saying he didn't know what the medical staff were saying, and perhaps he's lying. But reporters have come out and said that's definitely a month now. It's official. But
we've had a question in the chat just while we're talking Man City off FPL Thomas. What's the minimum amount of Man City players you see yourselves having after we start moving over to teams like Aston Villa and Southampton? So just quickly, I know it's obviously it's hard to say exactly because it's a few weeks off yet. Dan, have you got any thoughts on who will be definitely staying in your team until the end?
Well, Sterling, I think he'll be able to go. I'd like to keep DS, but DS Stones can sell it. I just don't know. It just depends how it plays out. But I don't know. I think I've got 6 or 7 at the minute, so I'll probably lose a couple of them. But when they keep keeping clean sheets each week, and you don't mind if someone misses out a game here and there if they're getting 10 points, the games they do play. So it is hard to say. It depends on how many transfers you got left. A lot of factors.
Yeah. Paul, anything to add on that?
No, there was a beautiful jump off of Man City players on Saturday the 13th of March. So Ian Parham's part of his predictions has Man City playing on the Saturday, even though some of those 3 o'clock games have to move. The Man City game's not going to move because of them playing on the Champions League on the Tuesday night afterwards. Yeah. So you can jump off a City player then. They don't play at all the following week when you've got the 4 games. And then the following week afterwards, you'd be hoping then that that City play perhaps on the Sunday or don't play on the Saturday, so you could get a nice 3-for-1.
Got Leicester, aren't they, after that? So you think that would be a Sunday, wouldn't it?
Yeah, nice 3-for-1 or potentially even 4-for. Yeah, it'd have to be a Sunday if they're winning the Europa League. So potentially even a 4-for-1 if the Everton Villa game gets rearranged for that midweek as well.
Cool. Okay, Dan, we've got the most transferred outs on screen.
Yep, so from last Sunday to this Sunday, number 1 out, Jack Grealish, 4,996 teams. Then James Justin at 4,276, which I don't get because he was injured before the overhaul, wasn't he? I think that was...
Yeah, I think he was.
Game before, wasn't it? So, obviously, I don't know. People have picked him and not realised he was injured. Son at 3,683. Ben Chilwell at 3,599. And then Matty Cash at 3,345.
Yeah, Spencer one there is just down the bottom. Sterling was taken out of nearly 1,000 teams. And Calvert-Lewin as well, obviously picked up the injury, missed a game or 2, but he's been taken out of, 3,345 as well. And we were just talking very, very briefly before we came onto the stream that Everton have got obviously a couple of extra fixtures, and their fixtures are quite nice from an attacking view as well. And they've very likely got an additional fixture to go into. It'll be FPL Gameweek 28, but it gives them extra fixtures and quite a few nice attacking fixtures as well. So no doubt we will touch on that in a bit.
I think with Sterling coming out, that would have been one of those moves that maybe like 3 or 4 years ago I think I would have made, like the nervousness of if you make an overhaul team and you plan on not having Salah or plan on not having Kane, but want them longer term and have a plan of when to get them in, but then you go and look on Twitter and you see that those players are in everyone's team and you have the fear and you go back on your original plans. I can imagine a lot of the Sterling move out was yesterday for Salah or today for Kane on that basis.
It's funny though, because when we see this all the time, is like, when you go on Twitter and you see everyone's having good scores, or everyone's got this or everyone's got that, the only people who are putting it up are obviously the people who is benefiting at that time. And a lot of the time it's different people putting them up. So while it obviously seems like everyone's got all these all the time, everyone's had an amazing week, everyone's doing better than you, a lot of the time it's different groups of people and individuals, isn't it? It's easy to get lost in that. Dan, the most transfers in since last week.
Cancelo 4,361. Diaz 3,895. Bamford 3,853. Vardy 3,726, and Phil Foden 2,710.
And Harvey Barnes just under that, got 2,540. So really nice haul, and Maddison as well, just under that as well, and Stones actually. So yes, some really nice hauls there. De Bruyne, interestingly, 2,000 transfers in. So some people have taken a.
Be interesting to see what that is tomorrow after. Got today's in as well, wasn't it?
It's funny because watching him today, he put in a very, very similar performance as to what he was putting in before he got injured. Just quite like this. This is just my opinion, but largely ineffective from a fantasy view. No doubt his teammates love playing with him. He holds it all together, swings in some good crosses, wherever else. But to me, he didn't look particularly threatening. He seemed to.
I wasn't worried that he was going to score a couple of goals today. When I see him starting, I didn't think, oh my God, I need to now look at my plans. I just thought, what.
I got no doubt, that he'll score a couple of goals. He'll put in some man of the match performance and stuff. But he and Gundogan seem to be doing a bit of a rotation of back and forth, from one kind of sitting more and one would attack, and then one would swap and go back again. And to me, he didn't look, scary at all, in all honesty. So yeah, it's be interesting. It's only one game, obviously, and he only played 60 odd minutes, working his way back. We'll see how that plays out. But I'm personally not in any rush to get him in there. And now we have the top 1K ownership, starting with Bruno right at the top.
Bruno, 99.9. If the one person in the top 1,000 without him, who are you? Do you know what I mean? Why haven't you picked him? What are you doing?
I doubt they'll be in the top 1,000 very long.
I really want that to get to 100 because I can't remember ever being 100. I never really looked at it before, probably last season. The ownership, I didn't really used to bother me, but I just want to set like him to get to 100. But I just can't imagine someone will probably take him out now just to keep it under 100, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So Bruno 99.9, the German fella from Man City 89.6, Diaz 87.9, Cancelo 83.8, Salah 77.7%. Bamford 70.3, John Stone 60.8, Edison 58.8, Sterling 52.7, and Azpilicueta 47.5.
And Harvey Barnes still not on that list. Oh, I've missed out. I'm devastated. Look at that. He's going to be under 14% owned still.
Antonio was only in 3 when he scored. I thought, and he got shot bonus, did he, straight away, because you keeper and defence are rubbish. And I thought, oh my God, that looked for. He's only in like 3 teams. It's no bother.
He got the shot bonus, didn't he, off the goal, because he clipped it and it was saved. Then he scored, didn't he? So he had shot bonus inside about 2 seconds.
And Lingard, I put on Twitter Lingard. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was sort of half joking, but he's been really all right, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He has actually.
7.2 mil.
Okay, so we've now got up the rearranged fixtures that have gone into next week. No, we haven't, actually. These are the rearranged fixtures that have gone to next week. Apologies. So starting from Monday, the 1st of March. And Paul, you're able to talk us through these fixtures and kind of how they potentially affect, Sky Fantasy plans and thinking.
Yeah, so on Tuesday, the 2nd of March, Man City play a standalone game against Wolves. I don't think that'll affect many people based on the volume of Man City players that everybody's got anyway. On the Wednesday night, Burnley play Leicester, Sheffield United play Villa, and Crystal Palace play Man United. Again, it might not affect too many people because Bruno's probably going to be heavily captained or the most captained that night anyway.
Yeah.
However, there is a nice hop on for Leicester there. To gain the extra game, especially if you've got Grealish. Oh, I guess actually you'd probably move on the Sunday if you had Grealish.
Before.
But then knowing that Leicester have got 2 games that week, Harvey Barnes, Maddison will both be popular picks, I think, for Grealish. So the fact that there's an additional game in there adds to the transfers in there. And then on the Thursday night, it's Fulham host Spurs, West Brom host Everton, and Liverpool host Chelsea. Again, so those 7 games there, the 14 teams, all play twice next week. So there's good hop-off opportunities for Brighton and Leeds from the Saturday. So they'll only play once in the next game week, and they both play on the Saturday. So it means that any team that plays on the Sunday that has 2 games that week, you're immediately getting a 2-for-0 over Leeds and Brighton players. And Leeds don't play until the following Monday as well, so you can actually get a 3-for-0 if you're moving the 2 transfers.
And in terms of the other fixtures that have been planned out for the rest of the month, we won't go through them all yet, but Brighton, for example, had another single game day. So for those who were thinking of maybe skipping tomorrow, probably maybe a good idea now to actually hop on a Brighton player. Yeah,
it's like Ian Parron's predictions came
spot on,
exactly spot on. Yeah, so that Brighton standalone games is at home to Newcastle. So those are looking at Sanchez or Dunk. And I know someone posted a question about what am I going to do now. Well, it's definitely not going to be Ben White, but now the fact that Brighton's got an additional game, then I might look at Dunk or Sanchez for tomorrow.
I think as well, the thing with Brighton as well, and it's not just the fact that they've got this extra captaincy game. I think it's the fact that they're actually defending really, really well, aren't they? And their fixtures are pretty decent because after Palace, they've got West Brom. Okay, then they've got Leicester, Southampton, and then that game day then for Newcastle. But yeah, they're actually okay fixtures, I think. And I've, again, we were talking earlier that I've been a bit thing for just jumping on captaincy for captaincy's sake. But I think on this one, it does seem like it would be a wise choice the way they're playing. He's also got good passing bonus sort of threat, and obviously he's got that aerial threat as well. You would be surprised if he banged in a header off a corner. So, any more observations, Dan, with those extra fixtures thrust into next week?
Like you said about Brighton, they have kept, how many clean sheets they kept? They've kept so many clean sheets in the last sort of few games, haven't they?
Yeah.
Now you're going to bring in a Brighton defender or the keeper. They probably won't for the next 5, will they? But like I was saying, some people are going to skip that Brighton game because of Ian, again, spot on, won't he, with all his predictions.
Amazing.
Because he said that they'd probably have another one. I did think, I'm going to have to, you could have skipped the game tomorrow, but you can't skip 2 captaincies, I don't think. The only problem is you're going to have a Brighton defender like for 5 games. Do you know what I mean? So if you get rid of John Stones or someone like that for Dunk, yes, he'll give you 2 captains. But how many points will John Stones get in the 5 games? Yeah. They've got in the same period. It's tricky, but yeah, it's a great chance. If it's just one day, yeah, I'd skip it. But I definitely think you probably should bring a Brighton player in.
Okay, so that's looking at those additional fixtures added. So let's now have a look at next weekend's fixtures and our thoughts and plans on captaincies and any potential hop-on, hop-offs. So obviously it's Leeds and Southampton is coming Tuesday. You would guess that most people have got a captain for this. Obviously Bamford has been a bit disappointing, shall we say, so far. But probably
he was unlucky with the goal. He was unlucky with his goal.
It was a lovely finish, wasn't it?
Great. That wasn't offside, was it?
Was. If people had a Southampton player, would you be tempted to go that, or would you be Bamford all day long?
I think if I had Danny Ings, I would consider it.
Yeah. Leeds are pretty horrible at the back, isn't they?
Porous. Yeah.
What about someone like Vestergaard or Ward-Prowse, someone like that, or would you just stick with Bamford?
Well, they're terrible at defending set pieces, but you know that Leeds will attack you that much that they're going to create loads of chances against you as well. Yeah. So I would probably stick with Bamford if I had Bamford. Well, I do have Bamford and Vestergaard, I would probably just stick with the crowds and go Bamford, I think. But if I had Ings, I would definitely contemplate Ings.
Ravina, good shout as well. He was
so unlucky last
How he
week.
didn't get any points from that game.
His balls in were absolutely sensational, wasn't they? How I saw that Liam Cooper had 4 shots on target. I think they were all. I think at least 3 of them were from Rafinha's, headers off Rafinha crosses.
I don't know if there was I don't know if it was a parody account that I seen this on, or it was actual fact. You know how there's a whole thing about when players transferring out players know that they're injured in training and stuff like that before things. And there was something about Liam Cooper captain and Rafinha, I think.
Oh, really? Was that?
Yeah, because all his 4 headers were all off Rafinha crosses. Yeah. I don't know if it was a joke or not. It might have been a joke based on the injuries.
There's definitely an account. I can't remember what it's called. It might be like FPL Insider or something like that. But if anyone hasn't seen it, it tracks Premier League players and coaches, etc. It tracks their transfers, and just for example, there was 4 Aston Villa players and coaches this week transferred out Grealish prior to the deadline, which obviously gave a lot of hints that Grealish was probably injured.
Didn't the physio done it the day on the 19th or something, and then the other 3 did it the day after or something? So it's obviously like, I did see that. I didn't know whether it was genuine or not, but
no, it is. Like it is apparently, yeah.
Who was it at Liverpool? Robertson or someone took out Mane, didn't they? When he was
Robertson took out Mane, and that's what kind of started off that.
They'll stop Premier League players having
FPL
teams. That's how the FPL lot. Their fault was going to be.
Yeah.
Go too deep into it, didn't they?
They do. And then next Saturday and Sunday then, so the first game, Man City versus West Ham. We get to see the lineups. Obviously, great news there. Really, really easy. West Brom have got Brighton at 3:00, Leeds against Aston Villa, and Newcastle against Wolves. So I'm assuming that people will be on Man City defender or attacker maybe. Dan, any thoughts on that?
Whoever starts in defence or captain, I think Like midweek when I think we did hear a rumour that Stones weren't going to start. I was always on DS anyway, but you're sweating until you see the lineup confirmed. So when you can actually see a Man City, I'm going to use it while I can. So be a Man City defender.
Okay, Paul, it's the same. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think so.
What's your kind of thoughts on Cancelo over Diaz or Stones? Obviously, Diaz and Stones are very similar in the way they play. Cancelo is different. Obviously, Cancelo has got probably more upside. He should have scored earlier, in terms of his attacking returns. But then he didn't make passing bonus earlier, whereas obviously Diaz hammered tier 2 and Stones got tier 1. If all of them play, who is your favourite or who's the one you'll be likely to put the armband on? Dan.
Paul.
Oh, go on, Paul. Go on, you go.
On you go, Dan.
I think Diaz or Stones. I'll just take the tier 2 passing, and Cancelo could get some attacking returns, but I'd just like to be secure. I'm on for a 10 or 20 pointer, rather than, I don't know, you could be on for 40 pointer or whatever, but slow and steady sort of I'll take.
It's funny how they switch as well, don't they? The Man City, that back four sort of turns into a back three. It switches around as well. I think it depends if Zinchenko plays on that left hand side. Diaz will play just inside him, and Diaz tends to nail the pass in between himself and Zinchenko. Whereas when they can mix it up a bit and Laporte plays, for example, it does affect. I think every formation affects who kind of hammers the passing, because Stones was nailing it, wasn't he? A few weeks ago he was getting the highest all the time, but I think then they were playing a different back four. It's very strange how it does it. It'd be interesting actually to see, to run through the different back fours and maybe have a look at who's like the chief passer dependent on the back four. A bit of a boring exercise, but it would be interesting to do. And on Sunday then, early games, Palace and Fulham, Leicester and Arsenal, both at 12 o'clock. Spurs play Burnley, Chelsea, Man United, Sheffield United and Liverpool. So a bit more of an open day, this one. Dan, what are your thoughts on Sunday?
Salah away to Sheffield United. Kane, for bringing him in home to Burnley. How he only got 2 points today is unbelievable, isn't it?
It was unbelievable.
The amount of shots that went wide, and he could have scored loads today. Salah or Kane, I think I'll go with.
Anything different, Paul?
No, I'll be going Salah or Kane as well. I think the Burnley game was a bit of a mystery yesterday, right? Because they gave up so many big chances, and it's totally on Burnley. And I don't know if it's the forward two not doing the work rate of Ashley Barnes and Wood when they play. I didn't watch the game in detail to come up with a conclusion to that. But if they give away as many chances, and like Dan said, Kane was heavily involved today, creating chances. He had 5 or 6 shots. I know he only had 1 on target, but that could be a Kane haul there. I think I'd favour Kane over Salah as well.
Okay, and obviously this is that 4-for-2 Sterling Kane hop off now, isn't it? That Sterling, hopefully Sterling plays on the Saturday against West Ham, but then
hopefully for who?
Well, hopefully for owners. Hopefully for owners. I don't own him, so I hope he doesn't. But that Spurs and Burnley there is a good hop on time to Kane from Sterling for those who plan that at the overhaul. I haven't got anything massively different there. I know it's boring. But that's at the moment it's just staying in there, holding rank, and trying to make small gains. But I am going to have to open my transfer purse, which I'm disappointed about. Actually, we will touch on questions now. So we've had a few questions. First one we've had is Grealish. It's buffering again. Frank says it's buffering. Have a go restarting, Frank. Hopefully that'll work. Grealish replacement. So Phil Hurst, says, do we stick with Grealish? I think he probably said that before we knew that he was going to be out for around about a month. Barnes, Antonio, Brownie, Sky FF chucked in Lingard or Rodri and Adam Robertson. I know you two guys don't have Grealish, so it doesn't affect your teams. I think my OBS is just restarting now, so it should be okay. But have you got any advice, guys, on on those with Grealish, including myself, who we should be looking to go with?
Midfielders, if we're looking just at midfielders,
Yeah.
I think the main ones were mentioned there. If you're looking to save a little bit of budget, team with loads of games, obviously making a sideways move to Traore from Villa could be a shout.
Yeah,
scored again. He's got a keen eye for goal. I just don't know that Villa's creating that much though. But apart from that, I think kind of went through. I guess James Rodriguez has burned too many fingers now that people might not want to go back to him there, because he could be a nice differential for that Southampton home game or the West Brom away game. Ward-Prowse maybe.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout, because Southampton Everton have got a single game day. When is that as well? That's
Monday. Everton play Southampton a week tomorrow.
Okay.
So you've got that opportunity there, and then Southampton have got the extra game, albeit it's against City. But Ward-Prowse is going to play and potentially pick up tackling bonus if it doesn't look likely scoring. Some nice fixtures in there as well away. So Sheffield United.
Okay. Sussex Martlet says may go for Minamino from Southampton. You've got to say that's not a bad shout. They've got extra fixtures as well, and they're decent as well. So obviously they've got Leeds this week. They've then got Everton, then Sheffield United, then Man City, and then Brighton after that as well. So they've got quite a lot of games. And to go back to Paul's original graphic, at the start of the stream, Southampton, I think, have got more games left to play than anyone else in the league. So maybe a good shout there. Minamino. Dan, got anything to add there?
If you're on a 4-4-2, I don't know how many people are, and you've got a little bit of money spare. Oh no, I don't think you need any money. If you're on a 4-4-2 and you don't have Dunk, you could move Grealish onto Dunk to cover that captaincy. I'd be looking at what days you haven't got a captain and whether you could do something. I know it's hard because if he was a defender or something, that'd be easier, wouldn't it, to make the switch? So it might not be possible, but you've got to try and use it to your advantage somehow to cover a captaincy or take him down to Rafinha or someone like that, save some money that you could then do something else with, like turn it into a positive. But yeah, see where you can get a captain in or do something productive.
Yeah, it might make sense having a look at your future plans as well, and making sure that you've got enough money to do it, to your point, Dan. Yeah. So, and if you don't, perhaps making a downgrade.
Yep. Sean Thorpe asks, do we know when the Villa-Everton game is likely to be on? Ian has just answered, actually. Possibly March the 17th. Depends on the Europa League draw for Arsenal and Tottenham. But yeah, I think it's looking likely that it's going to be I think it'll be Sky Gameweek 27, I believe. So it's 2 or 3 weeks away.
What was that, mate? Villa-Everton?
Yes. Yeah. It's not planned in yet, but I think it's
They reckon.
Yeah. Ian and Ben Crellin. I'm in a chat with Ian and Ben Crellin, and my goodness, it's like talking to astronauts at times. And I mean that in the best possible way in terms of the level they look at these fixtures is absolutely unbelievable. Not that astronauts look at fixtures. I don't know what I'm talking about. Ignore me. Next question. Question from Sam Sky FF. Best option for the Everton Southampton game. So he's put potentials Vestergaard, Ward-Prowse, or Calvert-Lewin for that single game day. So if you haven't got one, who do you think is the best pick? So I know you just mentioned a couple of Southampton players. Paul, you mentioned Ward-Prowse. Would you say that Calvert-Lewin is probably is maybe a better pick than Ward-Prowse for the next few weeks?
Potentially, yeah. I think depending obviously on what budget that you've got, because Vestergaard downgrading to Vestergaard might be a nice move if you need budget elsewhere. But I genuinely think that Danny Ings could be a nice differential if you're looking to make up ground. I think a lot of people will do the Calvert-Lewin move.
Yeah.
Those that own Vestergaard, like myself, might just stick with Vestergaard. But if I was looking to break the top 1,000 or make a move, because Ings is a little bit more expensive than Calvert-Lewin, he's 9.9 to 9.3. I think that could be like a really nice differential of a proven goal scorer in the Premier League. It's not like a total far-fetched
like a Mopai, which I'll
not like a Samata. That's like a
I had to bring that up, didn't you? Fair play. Okay, Dan, if you were to pick a captain for that game, you had a blank canvas, who would you pick in as captain for that game?
Probably Calvert-Lewin, I think. It's so hard. I was looking earlier, like you say, Kane. Everyone wants to have Kane, don't they? Salah, whether you think the game Salah's got coming up, Sheffield United, Fulham, they play Wolves on a single game day on Monday the 15th, so you're going to need a Liverpool there. No one's touching the defence, are they? So you think it's going to be Salah then? People, you talk about Calvert-Lewin. Do you know what I mean? There's Bamford people have got as well for budget.
Yeah.
Leeds have got another single game day on the 19th. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, how are you, there's 4 strikers there, and how are you going to, it's a bit of a puzzle trying to fit in what you're going to do. But Calvert-Lewin for that night, but how are you going to put 4 into 3? I don't know.
Okay, we had a question of Chris Paul. So he's got Bamford, Kane and Watkins, 2-2-2 scores. Over the last week. He says, is it time for a mini overhaul, or do you stick to the plan? Dan, what do you think about that?
I'll get rid of Watkins.
Without
Grealish. Yeah. He's not well owned, is he? So if he's going to score a hat trick, it won't matter.
I think I saw earlier on your chart, I think he was like 14% owned. So he's not gonna make a massive difference.
Yeah, they haven't got any single game days yet. Do you know what I mean? Yes, they will if this Villa Everton comes up, but people might have Martinez or might go for Calvert-Lewin by then. So I don't know. I just don't know. Watkins, I've never had him, or sort of never been on my radar.
Yeah, with Bamford, they've got the single game day, haven't they, on Friday the 19th of March as well. Leeds
Fulham,
and Fulham. So you just need to think about that with Bamford. And Kane's ownership is probably likely to be high, I would guess, and he's got a fair few, decent looking fixtures.
And he said, like you said about Salah, like he'd been disappointing sort of thing, but Sheffield United and Fulham, and then the single game day against Wolves, I can't see.
So you need to be careful in it, because you can overthink it and overplay it, and then all of a sudden if you just stuck with Salah and Kane, and both of them score a couple of goals each in 1 or 2 of these games, and you're bang in trouble because of the ownership. But yeah, if you look at Spurs next 3, Burnley, Fulham, and Palace. And Liverpool's next 3, Sheffield United, Chelsea, and Fulham. So they're quite decent games. I'd maybe be a bit, little bit nervous about that. But Watkins, I do agree. I would say that they have got Leeds, Sheffield United, Wolves, and Newcastle mind the next 4 games. They're not, they're not the worst. But without Grealish, I think they look pretty toothless earlier, didn't they? So, we did have a comment in the chat about Wolves run. We had a call for Neto as a midfielder, and I was looking at this earlier, actually, just having a look from game week 30, 31 onward till the end of the season, which teams got really nice fixtures, because I think we're at kind of a period of the season now of, when we make a transfer, we should probably not say I'm making this transfer for the whole season, but at least think, if I'm making this transfer, is it? I think it should be in our minds now about kind of a season-long pick. And a few of the teams that have got good fixtures in that last sort of 8 game weeks, so Liverpool, Arsenal, Leicester, and Wolves have all got really, really nice fixtures in that last kind of 8 games or so. So think there was a couple of shouts earlier for Neto, Traore, even though Glenn says he's a striker in this game, but. Yeah, Wolves, from that, I think it's game week 30 or 31 onwards, have got decent run. Anything to add there, Paul, just on that, Bamford, Kane, Watkins, or should we just stick to the plan at the moment?
If the plan was because of all the Villa games coming later on, I'd probably look to move them on. But Yeah.
Okay. Phil Hurst simply says, Salah out. Should be looking to get rid of Salah, just due to Liverpool's form. Liverpool apparently, I saw a stat yesterday. I retweeted it that Liverpool lost 4 games at home on the trot for the first time since television was invented, which I thought was a hell of a stat. Paul, come to you first. Thoughts on Salah out, or do we need him for this little run of fixtures? And the single game day on Monday the 15th of March.
Well, that would be a perfect opportunity to bring him back in, or taking him out for a while, allow him to pick up some form. But we just, I guess, with Salah is that he's 73% owned in the top 1,000 just now. It's good if you're going to go against the grain, but he will still be. His effective ownership will probably be over 100% in the game days that Liverpool's playing, based on people captaining him. So, if you're brave enough to do it and want to try and move away from the pack, then definitely I see an opportunity. I guess moving him out on Sunday for an Everton or Southampton player, Ings or Calvert-Lewin or someone like that, might work out really well. I can't see me doing it myself, but that's because I'm a boring player, I think.
A winning player, Paul. A winning player. Dan, any thoughts on Salah out, or are you just leaving him in and not,
I know Liverpool have been terrible, but I think it's going to leave him in because, like I said, them games and the single captaincy, I don't want to take him out, put him back in, and this, that, and the other. I think I'll just sit him in there. I think I'll just keep him.
It's funny because the ownership is almost like a game within a game, isn't it? In terms of, you shouldn't really, if you were playing the game as like a purist, in terms of picking the players you think will score the most points, etc., then you would probably maybe look to take him out because they have been off form. But it's like I say, the ownership and holding rank and wherever else is definitely a game within a game. It does factor.
It's like sitting top of the leaderboard in Dream Team and having to look at other teams around you.
Exactly. I had a right hairy moment earlier for sure.
I think if they didn't have that single game day, I'd probably be tempted to take him out, but I'm going to want him for the Wolves game, so I'll keep him.
Yeah. After that could be a hop-off point there maybe, but like I say, their last 8 or 9 fixtures are beautiful, a Man City have shown, right? So I think up to December, was it? Man City were awful. They were having a really awful season, and I think we said at the time then, it only takes a flick of a switch for these teams to just completely change. Liverpool are a class act. They're having an awful run. Don't get me wrong, but if you go and take these players out, not only can they then hurt you when they haven't got them, you then need to find a way to get them in as well. It's so hard. I personally would be tempted, because of the ownership and because he is a class act. He will very likely finish in the top 2 or 3, top scorers throughout the season. Leave him in. I also think it's very easy to, if I just kind of thought of it, think of the season now as a whole. It's very easy to start thinking, we're coming towards the business end, which is right, or we're coming towards the end of the season, or like late knock-ins, right? I think Villa have only played, I want to say 23 games.
Yeah.
They've got 15 matches left. That is massive. That is still so much football to be played. I think we just need to be a bit careful of just moving away just to be different, and just play the game, and just keep playing your game. There's no need to go different, because as we've all seen this season, I see it more than most, right? When I try and go a bit different, 99% it just absolutely bites you in the arse in the short to medium term. So I was looking at the fixtures earlier, and just looking and thinking, my goodness, there's still well over a third of the season to go for. There's over a third of the season to go for all teams, I think. And there's well over a third of the season to go for a few teams as well, Southampton, Villa, Man City, all these teams. So, okay, So we had the question as well off Martin Mulder. I think I saw earlier that Martin is sitting very high up in the leaderboard. I think he's like 15th or something. We were talking about Man City. So he's got 6 City when to move off. I think you answered that earlier, Paul. Was it March the 13th? You said is looking like decent.
Yeah, that's right.
Decent date. So March the 13th, Martin. Have a look on your planner. And Dan, question off Joe Wilson. So, well, again, we probably answered this earlier. Actually, just a question about KDB. Do we need to try and squeeze him back in our teams? I think our general consensus at the moment is probably no. But just I think there was a comment in the chat earlier that he looked rusty. That's probably fair. But to me, he was looking like that through most of the season. I wouldn't say rusty as such, but the positions he's playing maybe doesn't lend himself to fantasy as much as it did in the past. Question off Elliot England. Dan, you first. Beef, lamb, chicken, or pork?
Chicken, mate. So you really, I could almost be a vegetarian, mate. Just eat chicken, really, and round sausages.
That's not being a vegetarian.
Well, it is if you just eat chicken.
I love that you call link sausages round sausages.
Round sausages.
Well, you call them square sausages, so again.
Round sausage and chicken. That's probably the only meat I have, to be honest.
Apart from that, you're a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Paul, beef, lamb, chicken, or pork?
It was well described by the chef. I'd probably say lamb.
I'm a lamb man as well, actually. I find beef. I do like steak, but I find beef can be a bit bland. I do like lamb and mint sauce. Let us know in the chat. Beef, lamb, chicken, or pork. And then one off Mark Shez to finish off. Meat samosa or duck spring rolls? Paul, are those two?
Duck spring rolls.
Dan?
Never eaten any of that, mate.
What's that on your vegetarian diet?
Never had it, mate.
Which sounds nicer, duck spring rolls or meat samosa?
Is this why he sends us pictures of is this why he sends us pictures of gingerbread men and stuff like that?
Burnt gingerbread men.
They weren't burned.
They were fucking burnt. Dan works in a nursery, and a couple of months ago he sent us a photo of these gingerbread men that he looked for the kids, and it looks like he'd gone off to write his article for the Hub as they were in the oven, because he sent us the photo and they had...
I had been doing something fantasy football related and I forgot they were in there.
I bet you have, mate. Maybe we'll get the photo up on the stream next week. Anyway,
good God.
Anyway, on to important matters. Meat samosas or duck spring rolls, Dan?
Duck.
I like duck spring rolls. I also like meat samosas. It's a bit of a tough one.
What's a meat samosa?
Well, it's a samosa, like the
I don't know what a samosa is.
You get in Indian restaurants, like a triangle thing, and full of meat. I'm guessing. Anyway,
samosa.
Onto the important. You've never heard of a samosa?
I'd love to see the menu of this place.
I ain't got bloody samosas on it. It's a kid's nursery.
Is it just for the kids, or is it for parents and stuff like that as well? Like,
you've been to a nursery for kids.
Do they have nurseries in your country?
Fish pie, cottage pie, beef lasagna, vegetable lasagna.
What kid eats fish pie?
My kids. Or Admiral's pie. It's basically the same as fish pie, but I call it Admiral's pie, so it's just like spice it up. Okay, before everyone leaves the stream, we'll just move on quickly to the Hub £500 league. So in 10th place, Pete Kemp. In 9th place, Matthew Samuel. 8th place, Peter Brown. 7th, Liam Gray. 6th, Katie O'Neill. 5th, Colin Price. 4th, Oliver Colgan. 3rd, Tala Nadeem. 2nd, Peter Brown with his other team. And 1st, so as of last night this was, Kerry Vintis, the Lana's in Pyjamas, is top of the Fantasy Football Hub League, and they're also number 1 in the entire leaderboard as well. So very, very well played, Kerry, and well played to everyone.
That was the team that was open in the overhaul period and had 11 Newcastle.
Yes, I think it was. Yeah, Kerry was having a bit of a laugh, but yeah, well done to everyone there. Obviously all you guys are having an absolutely fantastic season there. And onto the Four Nations League. Paul, your Scottish flag is under threat. It's getting tight. But in 8th place is Liam's second team. Looks like he's given up on it. I think either that or he's going rogue all over it. 7th place is the podcast tee, which is round about the 1K mark, I think. 6th is Dan's second team. 5th, House Husband's Fave, Paul's team, just behind. So your second team, Paul, is about to overtake my first team. I'm on 2285. Dan Cox's then on 2324. Look how tight this is. So this was the team in 79th, I think, wasn't it, Dan? This was last night. Yeah. Liam Dorrian, 2333. And Liam was very likely around the 55th to 60th mark, and just 1 point ahead is Paul McAnulty still. So the Scottish flag being on that, Paul, is very much under threat. Sadly, not from me. If I'd have put in Harvey Barnes today, I might have been able to put a bit of a charge, but I'm not sure if I'll be the one wearing drag come the end of the season. We will have to see. Luke Shalito, El England, Norman Conquest, all like Lamb, as does Kelvin Guest. Everyone likes Yorkshires, don't they, right? And Duck Spring Rolls, we haven't had one call for meat samosas. So Tom Hartnell, Kelvin Guest.
No one knows what they are.
So like Duck Spring Roll. I can't believe you know what a samosa is, Dan.
When we have our tour of the UK, we'll go to that place that serves them, and I'll have one.
What an Indian restaurant?
That's Marks and Spence.
Oh, Marks. Yeah, you're right. Glenn asks, have you tried duck, Dan?
I've had duck à l'orange when I used to work in a beef eater a long time ago, when we used to cook it. If I cook one wrong, I'd eat that.
Very posh. Okay, so with that, with that, finally, Dan, what's upset you this week?
Right, the cat that lives round here that's still annoying me. Still hanging around Tesco's, even though it's bad. That's got 4,200 followers, yeah, and I'm still 900 followers behind it. I thought I caught it up by now, but it's really starting to irritate me now. So if you're listening to this on the YouTube, follow me on Twitter, because this cat that doesn't do anything. I write articles and I'm on here. I'm a YouTube star. He don't do nothing. He's barred from Tesco's. He's got more followers than me. So
I think the cat still annoying me. I think the cat might play FPL, Dan.
You probably
maybe that's why
20,000 followers.
Maybe that's why he's got more followers than you.
He's had 2 top 100k finishes or something, and he's rinsing me. So the cat annoyed me. I'm not annoyed. I don't know. I'm not annoyed with Ben Crellin, right? And this is going to be awkward when we have a hub meet-up, right? But on Friday, I see he spent 9.5 hours sat at his laptop, yeah, hitting F5, refreshing it, waiting for the fixtures to come out. He wouldn't go and have a shower because he was scared the fixtures were going to come out, right? So he sat there all day in a tracksuit, eating pot noodles, probably gone for a wee, hadn't washed his hands because he wanted to quickly get back, right? He sat there for 9.5 hours to do this, slept for 3 hours, done all this, right? You need to get a life, mate. Like, come on. Like that, we love fantasy football, but don't be chained to your laptop all day. And then I see everyone on Twitter like, Ben, you're a hero, you're a legend. It's like, has he made a cure for cancer? Has he just done a double shift on a COVID ward? No. He sat at his laptop all day. Like, come on. Do you know what I mean? I just think people just need to get a life. Like, I love fantasy football. We're all here, but come on, man. I wouldn't sit at a laptop for 9 hours. Just,
You've described my life when I was at uni, when I was sat playing Championship Manager instead of going to lectures and eating pot noodles, Rocky Robbins.
Well, that's no life for a man of 30 or whatever he is. That's, I just think that's not healthy, is it? 3 hours sleep or something. Like, come on. If you're a mate of his, you need to have a word with him.
I think, in all fairness, he did help tens or 100,000s of people sort out their game week 25 and game week 26 wild cards and plans or whatever else. But as long as he looks after himself. But he's
but get some sleep, man. Don't have 3 hours sleep, and don't be sat at your computer all day, not taking care of yourself, and going to have a shower and that, and take a break, even if you took an hour out to have a shower and something, and I don't know, watch a bit of Doctors or something. I don't know.
Anything else, Dan?
No, I think that's me done, mate. I'm all right now. I've had my jab, so just want to get my COVID passport, and I can go down the pub with a load of old people soon. So that's that.
Happy days. I got any rants as such. I got a couple of things. So I don't know if anyone's I've noticed. I don't know. I was watching telly last night in my armchair, and I was just like picking my beard, as probably a lot of people have seen on the stream I tend to do. I just kind of pick my beard or my moustache a little bit. But this morning, I kind of had a shower and I looked in the mirror, and I've got a little ball patch at the end of my moustache where I was just picking it so much that I've got a ball patch. So I don't know if you can see on the stream, but it's by there anyway. So that was a bit of a mishap there. And the second thing, which, oh my goodness, so I said to the kids yesterday, I said, if the weather's nice and it's dry, we'll go over the park with a football and kick a ball around, for half hour or whatever. Forecast was horrible, raining all morning. It stopped raining about lunchtime, and my wife's nan, who's in our bubble, called up the house. When I looked outside, it's still, soaking wet. It's not raining, but it's wet. And I know what it's like over the park by us. It's like a football, like those football, basketball, it's like a cage. You're like a concrete sort of cage with a fence around it. It's something like that. And I know that it's so slippery when we go there. So I was thinking, look, I don't want to do it because the kids have fallen before and hurt themselves. I thought no. Anyway, my wife's nan persuaded, forcibly persuaded us to go over the park, chucked on a bit of a guilt trip about, the kids haven't been out and wherever else. So I begrudgingly took the kids over the park. Within 5 seconds, I'm running with the ball. I try and stop. Both my feet go absolutely clean out from under me. And I land headlong on my right shoulder, which is absolutely killing me. I couldn't move my arm for about a minute. I honestly thought I'd broken my arm. I think it's okay. I got up, and the kids are like, "Oh, come on, Dad, what's the matter?" And I'm like in agony, just like trying not to cry. And anyway, we carry on. I'm holding my arm and we're playing. And then my 8-year-old son does exactly the same thing. Both feet underneath him, lands on his hands and his elbow. So yeah, we just so my rant is, I didn't want to go out. I went out. We came back an hour later. Me and my son, my little boy in tears, blood on his elbow. I've got a cracked, I don't know if I got a cracked shoulder. I've got a painful shoulder, and all that just because I was, meant to feel guilty for not going out. Never again, I told the wife. Never again am I not going out if it's going to be like that. So anyway, Tom Hartnell said Ben Crellin just unfollowed Dan, and Frank FF Stuff said, "Dear Dan, a new feature." I like that. Sean Thorpe says Dan's follow account gets further away from the cat. Bebe, Crellin is better than Jesus Christ. Bebe says, can I follow the cat? So everyone wants the cat's Twitter handle, Dan, because they all want to.
I ain't giving it out. Not giving it out. I'm not telling you the cat's name. And he's barred from my Tesco's though.
Frank from FF Stuff loves a Marks and Spencer samosa. Just so you know there.
He's on the big buck shop in there.
He is, isn't he? Just his website must be absolutely flying.
It's called, by the way, the cat's called Pumpkin.
Okay. Okay.
Hate that cat.
So that
he's barred from the Tesco's. I'm barred from the pub. It's unbelievable.
So that is it from us for this evening. Thank you so much, as usual, for supporting and interacting with us on this live stream. For those watching back, if you want to talk about Sky, watch the first 40 minutes. If you want to talk about samosas and cats and broken shoulders, listen to the last 20 odd minutes. But thank you so much, everyone. Apologies, we seem to have a couple of buffering issues. I'll go downstairs now and have a strong word with the kids. I don't know what they're doing, whether they're on Fortnite or whatever it is they're doing, or streaming or YouTubing or whatever else. But apologies. Hope it was bearable and okay. One favour, could everyone please retweet the podcast when we tweet it out either later or tomorrow morning. Dan, where can people find you?
Twitter, Dan Cox 82. Please give us a follow. Need to catch up with that cat.
Paul,
once I catch up with the cat, I'll delete the account. It's fine.
Paul, where can people find you?
Twitter, Pumpkin the Cat Norwich at Paul McAnulty 1. MCANULTY.
Cool. And my Twitter handle is at Fergie222. So this podcast and video will be on the Fantasy Football Hub, Sky and TFF YouTube channel, and also available in all major podcast platforms. If you liked what you watched, please click the like button and remember to subscribe in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. If you enjoyed your listen, please rate the podcast on Apple Podcasts. You can rate us, give us 5 stars, and leave some comments. Our handles on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok are at FFH_HQ, and our podcast Twitter handle is at FFH_Sky. So please follow and feel free to ask any questions. Our website is fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where you will find everything you need for fantasy football all under one roof, including player comparison tools, the fixture ticker, Opta stats, top player team reveals, and much, much more. Good luck to all our watchers and listeners for this week and next weekend. We will be back on Sunday at 9 p.m. to look ahead to game week 26. Stay safe and good night all.